Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is the first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be my full review with spoilers of Evil Dead from 2013, that today actually is the 10-year anniversary. So I thought that was the perfect time for me to talk about this, and next week about Evil Dead of the 1980s. Since, in case that you don't know this, Evil Dead Rise is coming to theaters on April 21, so we are closer than ever, and I thought that would be the perfect time for me to talk about these films. Now, as always, on my reviews are with spoilers. I do not do spoiler-free reviews for this one, so I am very sorry. This is not the video for you. If you don't want the spoilers just to see if this was worth it, this is not the video for you. But saying that disclaimer and all of that, let's get into the video. Now, this remake is directed by Federico Alvarez and it follows 5 friends that head to a remote cabin where to discover a book of the dead leads them to unwittingly summon up demons living in the nearby woods. Now, to give a brief summary of the story, the film opens in 2008 with a girl that she's running through the woods. She gets kidnapped, in a sense, and then she's burned alive on the basement of a cabin. We don't know the whole context, but the only thing that we do know for sure is that that girl was possessed. By who? We don't know. But something for sure that she was possessed, and the best thing that they could do was burning her alive. Then the film jumps to 3 years later. We have in 2011 the group of 5 friends, and they are all heading to a cabin in the middle of the woods. That turns out to be the same cabin as the beginning, where the girl was burned alive and she was possessed. This is very important to remember. Now, the reason why they are on this cabin is because Mia, that she's part of the group, she needs to overcome her heroin addiction. So they are all there in order to help her. Of course, things, they're going to be easy now. She eventually gets out of the house on the middle of the night because she can't handle it anymore. While she's out on the middle of the woods, one of the members of the group finds the Book of the Dead and he starts reading from it. This is what summons the demon. The one that possessed the girl at the beginning, that demon was out there but like asleep. And those words in the book are the ones that kind of wakes him up, and now he is back in Earth and he gets attached to the first human thing that he found, that is Mia. This is the scene where she gets raped essentially by a tree and the branches. This is what it's seen on the poster, and that scene is also featured on the original, so of course it was more than obvious that what will happen. But being honest, it looks better on the remake. Like, of course, the practical effects there 10 times better, but she gets essentially possessed. But the group doesn't know it until it's too late and she's back in the cabin because they try to leave. But for them to get out of there, they need to pass through a bridge that is no longer there because the water rises and it's basically nowhere. Like, they can't go, so they need to spend the night there and they need to leave in the morning. Now we have Mia that is possessed and she is locked in the basement, and this is the scene that we see her with the door of the basement on her head, and she's like, I'm gonna get you. Those scenes were used a lot on the marketing. I remember when this film came out, seeing that clip everywhere. Of course, one by one they are going to be possessed and killed by the demon until we have Mia as the last one standing. Compared to the original, where Ash, that in this case the Ash version here will be Mia's brother, he kind of looks that he will be the one at the end, like the last one standing on the final boy, but he gets also killed, so that leaves with Mia as the final girl. And the film concludes with Mia killing the demon, and she leaves the house now that it's the next day, but she's unaware that the book is actually unharmed. Nothing happens to the book, and the book kind of closes on itself and it ends. The film actually has a post-credit scene that features Bruce Campbell, that is Ash Williams from the original trilogy of the franchise. The first thing I like is Mia's character. She's been through a lot, and I really think that the actress did a very good job into being her with the addiction, passing through it, then being possessed, and then becoming the final badass girl. because she is badass. At the end, when she doesn't have her hand, she takes the chainsaw, she puts her arm, what it's left of it, a little bit like Ash. If you haven't seen the franchise, you know that Ash at some point loses his hand and he uses a chainsaw. So they resemble that with her, something that I loved it. She did a very good job being creepy, but also badass. The second thing that I do really like is the fact that, just like the original, in this one they do not use CGI. Federico Alvarez, that is the director, he has said a few times how hard it was to film this because they decided to use practical effects, sets, props, makeup instead of using CGI. He said, yeah, of course it can be a little bit cheaper and it's going to be easier and faster, but they wanted to do it like the original was made, which I believe that is what made this film so good. Because I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, I have said this a few times, I do not feel that CGI belongs in horror because it takes away from the magic of looking real. Because at the end of the day, CGI looks fake. Like, you can try. And for example, superhero movies, of course, there's going to be a lot of CGI, but an example like I gave that is not even horror, Star Wars, the originals, they use props, sets, all of that, right? They look incredible. Then you look at the prequels, they're all green screens. Everything is CGI. And we all know that it doesn't look that good. Although technology has advanced, some things they should be done without CGI. And I really like the fact that they did that in Evil Dead. Third thing that I do really like about this film is that it embraces what Evil Dead on the 80s was trying to be. Now, if you have watched Evil Dead, you know that the film is funny, is cheesy, it's an 80s classic, but it wasn't supposed to be that way. Like, they didn't make it on purpose. The second one, the third one, yes, they did. The first one was supposed to be like scary and a dark, serious horror film, but it ended up becoming a horror comedy because of the bad acting, not say by me, say by them, and how melodramatic it was, the script. So Evil Dead of 2013, they brought the essence of the original and making it better, bringing what Evil Dead of the 1980s could have been. But at the same time, I think that everything happens for a reason and for good, because I cannot imagine Evil Dead from the 80s being like a serious film. I believe that is what made it so good and so famous at the end. So everything happens for a reason, and sometimes it's even better. Now, if you ask me which one I prefer, I cannot 100% say it, since they're both equally good in their own ways. Evil Dead is a cult classic, but Evil Dead from 2013 is a hell of a good remake. It's, in my opinion, one of the best remakes of classic horror. And I think that many people will agree with me on this. I am not sure, but I do believe that Evil Dead as a remake is very good. And it's hella creepy. Like I said, for me, that girl, Mia, she did an outstanding job being creepy. The amount of blood and gore, like the makeup here is amazing. I mean, the ending scene is a rain of blood. I cannot imagine how much blood they use on this. And Evil Dead Rise is promised to be the same, with terms of how dark it's going to be and serious and amount of blood and gore. And by the trailer alone, we know how it's going to be. And I am really excited to see. And it's also something I do really like, is the fact that this franchise shifted to what it was supposed to be, but without losing how iconic it was. It's a very smooth transition, just like Chucky. We have Child Play, a trilogy that is very serious, and then it kind of switches with Bride of Chucky and all the other films to more black comedy. And it's a very smooth transition, and it has made the franchise even more popular. So Evil Dead was like on reverse, but it worked very well. Although probably we have Ash versus Evil Dead, that is a series that is modern, but with the comedy. So it's like the mix and like the happy medium between how dark and serious the franchise wants to be, and how ridiculously funny it was at the beginning. So definitely is the happy medium. Something that I do dislike about this film, being honest, I do not dislike anything about it. Like, for me, this film is not perfect, but I cannot bring myself to say that I dislike something, because for me, the cinematography is good, the practical effects are good, the score, the acting is pretty decent. Maybe the acting, taking Mia characters aside, the acting probably could have been a little bit better, but I think that they did a pretty good job with what they had. So for me, this film is not perfect, but a pretty good film and a must watch. Like, for me, this is a film that you should watch. Like, from the 2010s, this is a must watch. So for me, this one will be an 8 out of 10 and a 4 out of 5. But I still love this film. So like I said, I cannot say that the film is perfect, but I cannot say either that it's bad, because in my opinion, it's not. But this has been all for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Next week is going to be my review of Evil Dead from the 1980s, because of course we are so close to Evil Dead Rise. So I mean, I had to do it. Let me know down below, what do you thought about this film when you first watched it? Like I said, I remember when this film came out, everyone in my school was freaking out because of all the clips and the trailer and the poster, and I was so excited. I didn't watch this one on theaters, sadly, but when I watched it at home, I loved it. Like, by that time, I had already seen Evil Dead, but I still loved this one. Because like I said, for me, it's a hell of a good remake. I'm sorry, but it is. But well, this has been all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Bye.
It's real. That much I know.